All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Environmental Coffee House. I am your host, Sandy Shellis. Tonight, we're going to talk about a situation that is near and dear to my heart because it is my town. What's happening here, what we didn't know about, in the quest for energy independence or green energy, taking away taking away something to try to get something. And it's actually about the nursery I go to. These are my friends and something that's happening here. Then we're going to go over to I'm going to show you a project I'm doing at home to fix. And we're going to talk about some laws. And it's local to me, but it can be extrapolated to any anybody's area, really, because it's what is happening. And hi, Chris. He says the post he who shall not be named election apocalypse is here. We don't know what that's going to be about, but I'm not saying his name. So let me get started with the show. And we're gonna take a look at an article that comes from a local paper near me, and it's quite interesting. And we're gonna look at how solar farms, which I really don't like solar farms and wood stoves, but not as much about that. But solar farms and the oligarchy. What's the connection? But first, we're going to look at this, and this is not in my river. Solar development targets prime farmland. And unfortunately, Matt, my partner over there at Left Past 10, he's got a show at 9 o'clock tonight, too. So we're kind of doing the same thing at the same time. And on the movie night extravaganza, they've got Adam McKay on tonight. So it's really a hopping night on Friday night. There's a lot of competition. And I do want to ask you guys, is this monetized? Are you seeing ads? Because I turned it off, but last time it flipped over and I don't know why, but anyway. Um, hey, hi, Alex. All right. So, not in my river valley. Solar development targets prime farmland. Local business leader who is my friend, and I do all my business really with her because it's local. Lisa Clark Shay has been in business on her 4.5 acres since 2001. Eastwind Nursery has been essential for many, uh, many, a place of joy for every season, creating job opportunities for many over the years. Lisa has paid her dues, paid her mortgage, her taxes, and donated back to the community year after year. When she learned that Georgia based solar farm developer had begun the process of converting all the land around her businesses into a solar farm, her heart sank. And this is the picture. I probably could show you a bigger one. That's it. It's not far from me. Absolutely beautiful, pristine, gorgeous land. And that's the business. Mhm. When she learned that they were going to come, she was upset. And she's concerned for her community, my community, the farmland, and the impact on her business. Now, it was founded in 2001. This is the schematic. And I don't have a better one of it, but all of that you saw, all of this, unfortunately, all of that is supposedly going to be covered with all of this. All right. The proposed picture above converts all of the existing farmland, which borders her small business located on Route 19 in Amity, New York, into a solar farm. A property just south of her business has already made a deal to convert river bottom farmland and commercial property into a solar farm. The project has already been approved by the town of Amity, and we really knew nothing about it. I was like really taken aback. I'm not against solar or wind or other green energy, but in a county full of open spaces, to place them surrounding a small business along the river and on productive farmland is devastating to me and future crop production, said Shay. For Shay, this isn't a case of not in my backyard. This is more like not in my river valley. Shay immediately took her concerns to last week's Amity Town Planning Board meeting, where the developer from SolAmerica, who we are going to look at, Energy, based in Atlanta, came to get a final blessing and begin construction in early 2025. The meeting featured an expert from MRB Group hired by the town of Amity to help navigate the process of solar energy development. Matthew Souza is very familiar with the town of Amity Planning Board process after advising on the project to the south of Eastwind Nursery, which I don't know where I've been. I really don't. I mean, we have other little solar farms here, but not in the riverbed by the Genesee River. So, in an odd twist, the meeting was revelatory because the developer had traveled to Amity only to realize that the basic application for the project in question had never been filed. That application is necessary to start the process, which includes the New York State Environmental Quality Review, which is also known as SEQR. Okay. And we went through all of this with the Northern Access Pipeline, which started years ago, which we actually finally is over. It's not going to happen. And, let me finish this and I'll tell you what some people are saying. The town of Amity planning board meetings, and Shay wondered if this was the end of the proposed solar project after representatives from SolAmerica Energy indicated the delay was a serious blow to the intended construction timeline. The moment of hope for Shay and others opposed to the project had been short-lived. SolAmerica Energy filed the application to the town of Amity this week, as confirmed by the MRB Group. That application must be accepted by the town of Amity, and the environmental process will begin. The final decision on the project will rest with the town of Amity board, after being advised by MRB Group, town and county planning boards. Lisa Shay is ready to fight with heart, soul, or nail and hammer, and I'm right along with her. And I contacted her. And so did Susan, my friend Susan, who comes on the show, posts in our chat, because she just had a big solar farm built right next to her house, which is pretty much taken a lot of beautiful land. For her, surrounding Eastwind Nursery with a solar farm isn't just hard to look at, but decreases the value of the business she has put blood, sweat, and tears into. Selling a garden center, a nursery, a family agribusiness surrounded by farmland is one thing. Surrounding it by solar panels means a less marketable business. Shay feels this project would greatly decrease the value of the business, ruin the landscape, and desecrate the farmland. Why are they lining the Genesee River Valley with solar panels? Do we plan to turn all the prime cropland and riverbanks into solar farms from Houghton to Willig? This is our greatest resource, this river valley, and we can't stop that? Well, New York State has limits on the amount of farmland that can be converted into solar or wind energy. The proposed project and the out-of-state developer raised some serious questions from Shay and others knowledgeable about the project. Why are these companies attempting to develop with such apparent haste and lack of local knowledge, right? What protections to the river valley, the prime cropland, and our shared resource is in place? How can we expand local control over a process largely controlled by the state as these projects continue? The Genesee River is Allegheny County's most important natural asset. The community's very existence and future are tied to this river, which runs from Gold, Pennsylvania to Lake Ontario. The land surrounding this river, the river bottom, is some of the most fertile ground on the planet. It has been farmed for 1,000 years and nourished humans for even longer. Lisa wants to keep Allegheny County's riverbed bottom from becoming one big solar farm. We have to set boundaries, and we have to protect existing businesses, and we have to protect fertile soil. Solar farms like this should be placed on non-productive land, rooftops, and they should never threaten a small family business like East Wind Landscape Nursery. Allegheny County legislator representing the district, Gretchen Hanchett, is equally concerned about the impact on small business, the farmland, and the community as a whole. Hanchett explains her initial thoughts on the dilemma. This is a very difficult issue, not just for this small business, but public policy moving forward. Local government must balance the interests of property owners on both sides. Impacting farmland is one thing. Impacting a successful small business in the community is another. And you can bet I'm going to be I'm going to be there at November 27th with all the information that I possibly can as to why this is not a good idea here. Okay? So this is, and what's really ironic is we call ourselves Western New York Wilds, okay? And so if we are the Western New York Wilds, how is that really congruent with a solar farm? And, so one of the things about this is that, yes, nobody's going to stop the movement for renewable energy. It's not going to stop. But it was never thought through. Okay? We fight the fracking. We fight the gas projects, the drilling and all that, and we finally won something that went from a long time. Even the windmills are not so horrible. I mean, they're majestic. They don't take up as much land. Animals can still live around them. And I'm not sure about the whole bird thing either. Okay. I have not researched that. But this is in my backyard. My backyard, her backyard. But that's not what the issue is. It's fertile ground. It's soil. It's farming. So everybody's right about the like Jean says here, every house and building and parking lot could have panels on roof and the electricity goes right back into the system. But that's not even all of it. I mean, there is just more to it. So let's look at this company, SOLAMERICA, Custom Solar Energy Solutions. And they do municipal utilities and cooperatives, joint action agencies, commercial and industrial customers, and landowners. So the landowner goes in there and then they find out, oh boy, they can make some money, off this. Imagine the power of harnessing the sun. No, not on our fucking farmland, we can't. Sorry. I mean, like I said, this stuff is not going to stop no matter what we do to want to stop it, no matter how far gone we are down the climate crisis, which is really pretty bad. I mean, really, I'll show you something. Okay, let's look at this. This is how oops, shit. Let me get it back on there. Here we go. We are pretty far down in the climate crisis. Now I'm going to show you this. Look at the end of the Triassic period. Extinction of 76% of all marine and land animals. And you look and you can see the degree Celsius increase. But I'm just going to show you. We're not going to look at that. We're going to look at currently. Now, projected RCP 8.5 is the increase in emissions. Obviously, that's the worst case scenario, but it's happening. RCP 4.5 is the case, the scenario that most scientists will say or cite, but we're not. And now with the man who shall not be mentioned, you don't think we're going to go this way? You don't think so? Okay. It's going to happen. So we're going to move on. And I'm going to tell you We look at the company, and they have all these, projects and partnering with them, yada yada, all that fun stuff. Now, who owns them? Who owns them? Company AB Carval completes acquisition of SOLAMERICA Energy. So it's all big corporations, just like every other big corporations. They're all big corporations. Now, I'm not saying 100% I hate it, because I have an array of solar panels, not on my house, but I have backup solar. I have the battery. I know that it's mining that gets it, but I have the battery. I have the solar panels, but I'm not taking up farmland. And I don't know where the minerals were mined. And I don't like that either. I will say, a friend of mine who is a liberal, and she says, well, Sandy, you have to make up your mind. What is the fight? What are we going to fight against? Fossil fuels? You can't fight against everything. Well, yeah, you can. But you fight maybe not against this so much, but the way it's happening. Taking beautiful farmland, destroying the soil, destroying the ecosystem around it. It's really not good for our area, the Western New York wilds. How fucked up is that? All right. So another big company. So this company, established global alternative investment manager since 1987, AB Carval's team has navigated through the ever-changing credit market cycles opportunistically, investing $142 million. Oh, billion. These are big boys. Billion. In 5,675 transactions across 82 countries. So they've got 16 billion in assets under management. So you see, this is such a big oligarchy cluster. Nothing, it could have been done so differently. And this is their big company. Durable, flexible, and trusted. Corporate securities, loan portfolio, structured credit, hard assets, blah, blah, blah. And then here is a video I thought I would show you about community solar. And let's look at this, and then we'll talk about this, because this is where you can buy in and you can get started in Colorado, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Virginia, Washington, and we will talk about the pros and cons of this. So let's watch this little video. Okay. Whoops. All right.
Solar power is becoming more and more popular, and it's easy to see why. Not only is it a clean, renewable source of energy, solar power can actually save you money on your energy costs. But did you know that you don't have to buy and install solar panels to experience these benefits? That's where community solar comes in. Community Solar is a state-run program providing an easy way for you to enjoy the benefits of solar without the investment or hassle of installing panels and equipment. You can subscribe to a local solar farm in your community and receive a solar credit that reduces what you owe to the utility each month. Community solar is available in eligible states to all who pay an electric bill. There's no need to own property, no installation required, no upfront costs, and no long-term commitment or termination fees. Just 5 to 10% savings off the solar credits you receive each and every month. Here's how it works. Solar developers build community solar farms in places like commercial building rooftops, parking lots.
Okay.
Empty fields, or even landfills.
No, well, that's all right.
Next, the solar power generated flows to the local electricity grid. Then, customers subscribe to community solar to reserve a portion of the solar credits generated by the solar farm. This reduces what they owe to the utility each month. Finally, customers receive a monthly solar credit on their utility bill for the electricity produced, and will save up to 10% on the solar credits received for up to 20 years. By providing clean energy jobs and paying local taxes, community solar farms help boost the local economy. And by reducing our reliance on fossil fuels, we can protect precious resources like our air, water, and wildlife. Plus, through our partnership with One Tribe, for every customer who enrolls, we are protecting 50 trees in rainforests threatened by deforestation. This means your choice contributes to cleaner air and a healthier climate, while benefiting the people and wildlife that call the rainforest their home. So if you're interested in supporting a cleaner environment, saving money on your energy costs, we invite you to sign up today. It's an easy and rewarding way to make a positive shift for yourself and the world we share. Welcome to Community Solar.
All right. Well, I think maybe if they hadn't have taken the solar panels off of Jimmy Carter's White House, perhaps.
Almost 5 years ago
Oh,
now.
no, I don't want him. He's going into solar power. When was this from? 3 weeks ago? Yeah, he gets 287,000 views. What was that called? Solar power can now be generated at night. It's really true. Okay, all the techno people. But anyway, so they at least mentioned putting it in over asphalt parking lots, empty building rooftops, things that are not going to be used. But you see, it's a whole lot of different things they could have done or they could do. Not taking this land. No. And again, I think the windmills at least are a little more palatable if you're going to have something to look at. They're majestic. All right. So we go on, and now we're going to go into more of well, why is this part of the oligarchy? Why is everything commercial? Ossoff, this was back in 2022. He had a solar manufacturing tax incentive to go into the Inflation Reduction Act. Solar jobs in the United States are still installing panels, not making them, but Ossoff said he hopes to expand the manufacturing side of things with his Solar Energy Manufacturing Act for America, which was going to go into that Build Back Better, which it wasn't called. It was with the Inflation Reduction Act, which really made people very confused anyway. But it shows here that installation project development is going up, okay? And other things, operation maintenance, whatever, is not. And it's all about Georgia. And it really is just, fantastic legislation that's going to improve our supply chains, lower energy costs, and help fight climate change and create thousands of jobs in Georgia and across the country. Okay. Well, I don't think there's hope for any of it now. But, and then the Biden-Harris administration announces $82 million in investment to increase domestic solar manufacturing and recycling, strengthen the American clean energy grid. I mean, we see it's happening, but it's just how it's happening. That's where I have my big problem. You can't stop it because you can't stop the techno people. You've seen it. You can't. As a part of Biden's Investing in America and agenda, the U.S. Department of Energy gave $52 million for 19 selected projects. How much did they give for the genocide, I wonder? Including $10 million from the bipartisan infrastructure law to strengthen America's domestic solar supply chain, and $30 million in funding for technologies that will help integrate solar energy into the grid. That's really pretty much broken. It's like a drip. Where's my drip sound? It's like a drip. Millions of dollars these days are like nothing. And honestly, I hear that's what it is. That's all it is. A drip. So President Biden's Investing in America agenda is fueling clean energy revolution right here at home with game-changing incentives for manufacturing and deployment, said U.S. Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm, who will not be for very much longer. So the Department of Energy is seizing that momentum by making some of our largest investments in research to strengthen our domestic solar supply chain, creating good paying jobs and boosting economic opportunities in communities across America in that process. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but here's this is where some of that money went. All right. Boosting domestic solar manufacturing. It's just all a bunch of different companies and schools, and I'm not going to go through this, but you get the drift of where I'm going, right? Okay. Well, I'm moving over to why this is an oligarchy and what Bernie Sanders who had said we should do. And that's basically everything could have been different had we thought about nationalizing energy instead of everything being an oligarchic corporatocracy of everybody in control with the billions of dollars and really giving people like us no say, except maybe landowners who figure they can make a few bucks off, destroying their environment around them. So Bernie Sanders, he calls to seize the means of electricity production. And this was when he was running in 2020, which is probably why they hated him. He said the new climate plan includes moving towards 100% public ownership of power. And this is where he's right and where it's so wrong in how it is now. A year after the PG&E power line sparked a wildfire, remember that? In Northern California, presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders said on Thursday in 2019, he visited Chico, California, where many who fled the fire made a new home. Now, I know how many fires have there been since then. He held a town hall the same day. He released a new climate plan in which he declared that the days of investor-owned utilities, with their profit incentives to underinvest in the electric grid and double down on fossil fuels, has to end. He's right. It's time for a massive public takeover for the nation's electric grid. The for-profit companies that reign over our energy system now have shown no meaningful sign of being willing to transform our energy system. Nope. They are much more interested in shareholder gains and businesses as usual. Yeah, business as usual. Business as usual. BAU. Bernie, thank you. Together, for-profit utilities and fossil fuel companies, they have created powerful political economic machines across the country to solidify the status quo of extraction and extortion. In contrast, democratic public ownership of our energy system could prioritize community benefit over profit, paving the way for a just and equitable energy system. You see, we're not dead yet, and you can't stop that technology is going to be developed and it's going to be researched. It's going to happen. Again, I say it, we can't stop it. But here's somebody who said this is what we needed. And he talks about the Green New Deal, but he said publicly owned. His plan comes as public power ownership campaigns mobilize across the country. Well, what happened to them? California's movement took off after the state's largest for-profit utility, PG&E, requested a bailout after the fire forced the utility to declare bankruptcy under the weight of liability claims. Communities across the state are now demanding public ownership, and the company's hometown of San Francisco began looking into municipalization. In New York, in the midst of a July heat wave, Con Edison sacrificed low-income communities of color in Brooklyn by cutting their power to avoid a larger blackout. So, yeah, you see, and it's not even, this is a while because it's not even de Blasio. Now it's that Adams, the crook that he is. Adams is not a Democrat, although the Democrats suck just as much as the Republicans. Adams, I call them, conservadems. He's pretty bad. But at the time, de Blasio called for kicking out the utility in favor of public ownership. And where did he go? Where is he? Have we even heard about him? So that was the presidential campaign where they dragged Joe Biden out of his bed to run because Bernie actually scared them because he had good ideas. His plan envisions harnessing and expanding the 4 already operating federal power marketing administrations and the Tennessee Valley Authority, as well as creating a 5th PMA to build out renewable energy. It would inject $1.52 trillion into renewable energy expansion and $852 billion into energy storage. So it was all good ideas, but the corporatocracy rejected it. And the Democratic leadership forced him out, basically, in 2020. The same thing they did in 2016, because he's right. And now we see in this election how right he was and how wrong they all are. And then he talks about the rural broadband, which I actually did get. But he's not alone. Elizabeth Warren had similarly audacious plans for services like broadband. And so there were others. But we're going to move on to the next one because it's a year later. Nationalizing the power industry is not radical. And forgive me, my nose got itchy. I'm not even running my wood stove. Whew. The United States has a long history of nationalizing in times of crisis. Bernie Sanders' publicly owned clean power proposal is actually pretty tame. So it's more of the same. We know that, what he meant, what he wanted. He says, I don't think a government takeover of major parts of the American economy is a good idea. I don't think it's good for working people. It's never worked in the past. It's not going to work now. This is what Mike Bloomberg said. The billionaire Mike Bloomberg. But whether Sanders' platform really calls for taking over major parts of the economy is up for debate. He talked about it in the 1970s. He talked about public ownership of utilities, banks, and other major industries. Can you imagine? And he talked about this before Citizens United made corporations people and really screwed up the country. Really did. And he said public ownership of all that, and he urged Nixon at the time to give serious thought to nationalizing oil companies during the 73 oil crisis. Oh, boy. He had said since, though, his vision of democratic socialism isn't about either workers or the federal government owning all the means of production. He just wants publicly owned clean power generation. Generation. Now, we can argue over the words clean power because we know damn well nothing's clean. And all of these mining operations like Thacker Pass, which is now being mined and developed, our friends lost that because you can't fight against the oligarchy. It is so hard, although people always keep trying. So what I want to do is go on over to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, because this article had talked about the New Deal and how this is what we should have been looking at. And I know I hate shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I really want to go. He was specifically addressing the relationship of government to electric utilities. But one could easily translate the theory and principles he proposes to today's banks or cable companies or airlines. So I want to go down to a particular quote. All right, a few. Electric utilities, FDR argued, were also vested with a public character, subject to public oversight. He then turned to the next question. How should government protect the public interest? Can you imagine that now? We're going into an era where the public interest is not going to exist. It's all going to be well, we're already seeing by the choices it's going to be a cacistocracy. I call it the insane clown posse, the clueless moron brigade, which I called it when Trump, he who shall not be named, first got in. So FDR, he was governor of New York, and he proposed a regulatory principle he embraced that most states would consider controversial now. The Public Service Commission is not a mere arbiter as between the people and public utilities, but must act as an agent of the public upon its own initiative as well as upon petition. The regulating commission, my friends, must be a tribune of the people, engaged in positive and active protection of the people against private greed. You know, when you read stuff like this, you really do want to cry because we are so far away from any of those principles now. I mean, we are really so far. And yes, Thomas Musk is an anarcho-capitalist, just like Milei of Argentina, and he's so right-wing and disgusting. And they have like 200. What is their inflation's like 200%. They lowered the minimum wage. People are in bad shape in Argentina, and all of our right-wing Republican conservative weirdos are clapping for them, cheering them on, cut, because they don't want to give anything to the people. All right, so FDR said, I therefore lay down the following principle, that where a community, a city or county or a district is not satisfied with the service rendered or the rates charged by a private utility, it has the undeniable basic right as one of the functions of government, one of its functions of home rule, to set up after a fair referendum to its voters has been had to own its own governmentally owned and operated service. The very fact that a community can, by vote of the electorate, create a yardstick of its own will, in most cases, guarantee good service and low rates to its population. The water power of the state should belong to all the people. The title of this power must rest forever in the people. In the people. You hear that, guys? In the people. It is the duty of our representative bodies to see that this power is transferred into usable electrical energy and distributed at the lowest possible cost, and no inordinate profits must be allowed to those who act as the people's agent in bringing this power to their homes and workshops. Wow. We are so far away from that. So far away from that. I am going to go on to another piece, but I just wanted to give you food for thought with all of this. It's I know the woulda, shoulda, coulda, and all that is bittersweet and sad, but this was what could have been and is lost now. And now private companies backed by big investors with billions of dollars are going to take the farmland and really are not going to give too much of a shit what the people say. And at least in New York, there's an Department of Environmental Conservation, and there will be somebody's going to go through this because we're going to raise holy head at the meeting. So I'm going to move on because it's kind of sad. And it's happening all over the United States. And I'm going to show you my own situation. We're going to move on to Woodstoves. Okay. First I'm going to... I want to show you something I fixed. I was able to do something all by myself. Finally, I managed to adjust the clock on my wood stove, on my cooking stove. Look at that! I fixed the clock. Oh, we need a little laughing. Okay. So I want to talk about now wood stoves and burning wood and what happens with that. Okay. All right. So it's all my own experience, and we'll go through this. We'll go through this first. These are called combustor bricks, and they came out of my wood stove. And what they do, this is what I heat with primarily, okay? And what they do, and here's my source, which is sustainable because I get it from my, it is because my friend that gives me firewood has been doing it on his 110 acres for 60 years and replants, and he knows what he's doing. And so the bracket fell out of the wood stove, and I thought I had fixed it. And this is the metal gasket. That's what fell out. And that was dirty. I cleaned it since then. But it's a metal gasket. Fell out around the combustor bricks. And the combustor bricks are what takes the... Thank you, Gary. What takes the smoke. It goes through the combustor like a catalytic converter. And it separates the gases so that what goes up the flue is a lot less of the bad particulate matter. So it cleans it before it goes out. My stove was expensive at the time. Back when I got it, I was married, and it was, we could afford it then. So now I had it cleaned. The guy came to do a service, cost me $230, and that was in October. It was warm, unseasonably warm, so I didn't use the stove that much. Well, all of a sudden, the bracket falls out from around the combustor bricks, and I'm calling them. He never called me back. I really don't know why. Never called me back. The guy's been coming. It's a company I've been using since I bought the stove from them. I called him today, and he still didn't call me back. So I decided, and I've been researching it anyway. I did fix the bracket myself. I did fix it, the gasket. I put it back in, but evidently I don't think I did it quite right because I was afraid of removing the combustor bricks and cleaning them and putting them back in because I guess fear is, you really don't. I'm not going to be afraid of anything because now I did the research, and I'm going to see. That's what a combustor looks like. That's what it looked like. That's the combustor. And this is ceramic. What's this one? Oh, the way I see it, there are two options. Citizens stand together to end corporate power, or corporate greed brings the end of human civilization. Well, I hope we still have the chance. Anyway, okay. So to buy the combustor bricks from the company or from the manufacturer of the stove, which is called Low-Pi Rockport, they are $800. I don't have $80, let alone $800, okay? So I'm thinking, and then if I do it through the company, they're going to charge, if they ever call me back, they're going to charge me another service call, even though he did not do his job, because if he had done his job, he would have taken the combustor out and properly serviced it and put it back in, so this wouldn't have happened in the first place. So suffice it to say, I'm really not happy about this whole thing. I did my research, and I bought exactly what my stove needs, but this time I'm not using ceramic. I'm using metal combustor. It's coming on Sunday. I've got the gasket, and I'm just putting the fucking thing in myself. Excuse me. I have all the schematics. I looked at YouTube videos which showed me how to do it. And Jean, they weren't always con man service. I don't know what changed with this dude. Same dude that's been coming to my house for 9 years or 8 years since I bought the stove, okay? I don't know what changed. So I bought it. I'm going to do it myself. all you do, you put the new, and it's not ceramic bricks, which won't crumble anymore. It's metal. And I did the comparison. You put the metal into the gasket. Oops, I don't want to move. Okay, my camera will move. You put it into the gasket. You put the gasket tape around it, which is fireproof, and you just put it back in the stove. And I've got my vacuum for the fireplace out, and I'm going to thoroughly clean it better than I did the last time, a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to put it in. I did ask my brother-in-law to come over if he can. I don't know if he's going to be able to when if it comes Sunday, I don't know. We'll see. Or Monday. Get this done because it's getting chilly. And, yeah, where are you, Carrie? That's right. YouTube is everything. You rebuilt the carb in your motorcycle from a video. Goddamn right. Yeah, it does have everything. And so I watched today about 5 videos on doing this. And I realized, again, the only thing you have to be fearful of is fear. And what I've learned over the last 3 years of being alone, 3.5 years, is that I can do pretty much, a lot if I put my mind to it, you know. So we'll see where this goes. And this led to me thinking about the wood stove and that. But I did have one more article I actually wanted to show you, to go back a little bit to the oligarchy stuff. And hang on. Okay, so I forgot this one. And this is just from August of this year. And these proud conservatives love wind turbines and solar power, and here's why. Meet the unlikely supporters of green and renewable energy, members of the Conservative Energy Network. And I know it has nothing to do with Woodstoves, although probably the big company that makes it, Travis Industries, that makes mine, is also another big, stupid, conglomerate corporation. But I wanted to go back to this because I forgot about this. These people, this shows you that it's all about the money, honey. They don't give a shit, about anything else. They care about money. This Conservative Energy Network, where they smell money, that's where they want to go. They founded it in 2016, and they brought together 200 people from around the country to discuss how to best champion energy sources they believe will restore Americans' energy leadership, save people money, create jobs, and secure the power grid. But I don't know if they met with that person that I don't want to name. While conservatives have never been absent from discussions around clean energy, the network is part of a new eco-right. Okay, the eco-right that's emerged to make a conservative case for climate work, or at least carbon neutral energy. And that doesn't necessarily mean believing in climate change. Anyone who supports free markets can see that cheap renewable energy is the future, and there's money to be made for those who embrace it. So they really don't give a shit. It's just, if there's something to make money, these fuckers, vultures, I probably, shouldn't say that word. I don't, whatever. Anyway. Free market competition, consumer choice, private property rights, and cutting government over-regulation are fundamentally Republican values. If these principles prevail, clean energy will thrive. I don't get, they say cutting government over-regulation. Well, these things are regulated. What do they want to? They want to cut the regulations so that we will put solar panels and windmills on every available inch of what's left in the United States. The conservatives have to embrace it, because these energy projects are developed in Republican districts, which is true. I mean, we are red as red can be. In rural red areas, we've got to repudiate the feeling that Democrats are trying to force clean energy down our throats. So I just wanted to bring that up because it's more proof that, it's all about the oligarchy. And they say it's not just a liberal cause, but it's not from the heart because they care about the planet. They just want money. So that was basically and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but that was basically the whole thing. The conservative energy network fighting against misinformation and for free markets. So let's go for it, guys. Yeah, let's go for it. All right. I wanted to move on in New York. And sorry, I zigzagged. I really did forget that one for the first part about wood stoves. And it was kind of interesting where I am because there had been all this misinformation about, excuse me, but I am so thirsty tonight. So about wood stoves in New York, everybody's saying that they were going to make it illegal to burn wood. And where I live, a lot of people heat their homes with wood, like I do. I primarily use wood. I have a backup propane furnace right now. I have no propane. It's expensive, and I have no money for propane. I have lots of wood. And I do have electric heaters. And I'm lucky my electric bill is not expensive. And New York State lawmakers have introduced a bill that would exempt the burning of wood used for cooking or heating buildings from restrictions under the state's 2019 climate law. The Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act mandates the state lower greenhouse gas emissions to 40% of 1990 levels by 2030 and by 85% by 2050. The Rural Energy Freedom Act, introduced Wednesday, now this is from April 5th. So this was introduced Wednesday in April by Republican Assemblyman Robert Smullen, would make the exemption for wood burning. Democratic State Assembly member Marianne Buchon said on Friday she will co-sponsor it. So while the CLCPA is well intended, it did not consider how many constituents in the 119th district heat their home with wood furnaces. And like me, have clean energy wood furnaces, as much of greenwashing as you want to believe. At least they have, I bought one with a catalytic converter, and it's the most efficient one they make. Or no, it was the second to the top of what I could afford. If they inadvertently ban the use of wood as a fuel source and prohibit those living in rural areas from using it to heat their homes, the common sense legislation will ensure that the CLCPA will not prohibit or restrict New Yorkers from using wood as a fuel source. Using wood as a fuel source is cleaner than fossil fuels like oil and coal. In 2018, the Environmental Protection Agency declared wood burning a carbon neutral energy source, which is actually not true. And the federal government recognized it as a renewable energy source in 2022, which it is renewable because we're growing more trees. My friends Debbie and her husband that gives me the firewood, he plants, he does everything on his property the right way. And if you've been doing something like that for over 60 years, you know what you're doing. So I think the bill passed. You know what? I didn't look. I wonder if it passed. I have to make sure it passed. I'm pretty sure it did. Let's look. What bill was that? That was the, did it say? The Rural Energy. Okay, hang on. Let's go and look that up. Oop. Let me copy that. Let's just make sure it passed. That was one of the last things I did not do. All right, let's see. Did it pass? April. So where is it? It doesn't look like they, oh, maybe it hasn't even gone up for a vote yet? Ah, jeez. Oh, gosh. Introduced? Well, shit. No, that's a Rural Energy Savings Act. Well, I'll have to look that up and then put it in the, oh, here, track notes. Put it in the show notes and see. It was in the assembly, and this was in April. So I guess like everything works. so slowly. So slowly. It just does. Yep, it does. Okay. Well, anyway, that's it. So what did we go over? Let's see what you guys are talking about. I wanted to go over that solar farm business because it's something that's happening to me. And well, not to me, but in my community and in everybody's community. And there are so many better ways of doing things. Energy, the Department of Energy, everything should have been nationalized so that we wouldn't have these big monopolies and we wouldn't have these energy companies, these billion-dollar companies making so much obscene money off of us. And so I have decided that the flush of the day is going to be to these oligarchic green energy billionaire turds. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So let's look. Do we have, and don't forget, guys, up if you haven't, okay? I know that I don't have a big crowd tonight because there's so much competition on there, but let me see what I'm going to go back and see, first of all, if I have any questions or any super chats or anything to read. Nope, and I understand all that because I have a small crowd and a lot of, people can't afford to necessarily help me. Oh, wait, and did I have a picture of, I don't know if I brought it up, of the newest little rescue to my house? Oh, I don't think I did. He's very cute. I wonder if I can bring this up. Hang on a second. I'm going to look for the newest little guy. I thought I brought it up. I'm going to open it. Okay. This is Monroe, and he was going to be put to sleep because his owner died, and now he's in my house, and he's 17 years old, and he's acclimating very well. He's my 8th rescue. It is a job, but he's really cute. And if you think I'm crazy, I'm really not. They are very loving, and they're just very nice cats. And he's 17. His owner died. I could not see him getting put to sleep when he's really in great shape, and he's a doll. He's acclimating to the other ones. They're acclimating to him. That's it. So I'm nuts. What else do I have to do? Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. Yes, 8 cats now. I have a big enough house. Trust me. I've got a cat door going in the basement. Everything's fine. I cleaned yesterday. I spent 2.5 hours cleaning the floors. I mean, there's a lot of work, but at least I have floors. And he's cleaned up. He looks beautiful. He wasn't even yucky when I got him because he was put back in his owner's house, and the owner who passed away, his sister, was going back and forth from her house to take care of this cat who was alone, and she said it was a hoarded situation. And he's really sweet. And back in 2007, when he was born in 2007, but he was declawed. So that's a negative because I tried to get him. He was trying to jump on my bed, which is a very high, big old wooden bed. And he couldn't. The quilt is shiny so that the cats can't rip it. I have this shiny quilt. I got it in a secondhand store, and he slid off. So I hope that's not going to be hard for him. But you can't handle your 3. You're going to get another kitten. Well, I have a bigger place, and I have it set up really well. I have it set up well for the cats, and I am a rescue. I'm literally a rescue. If people want to help me that I can trust with my address, you can always send food or litter. Mark Roche did, and he sent me cat litter. So, these are all, hi, Cheryl. Let's hear it for the cat ladies. Let's hear it for the cat ladies. Yeah. Adopt you. Oh my gosh, you guys are wonderful. Yeah, declawed, I would never have done that. But then back in the day, a lot of people did. They did. They didn't know any better. A lot of people did not know any better. I can get steps for him. He's good. I just put him up on the bed. So now I've got what, 4 that sleep on the bed with me. James, you had if I had a boy cat come up, cats do not like me. He does. 60-ish years and a cat likes me. Okay, but wood burning stoves, I have one and use it I'm assuming every day in the winter. Cat ladies unite! Yay! Yeah, there we go. There we go. Aw, you're going to adopt me? Yeah, I thought about this today with the cats. I'm like, I have no grandchildren. I have nobody that's family that lives close to me. I have really nothing, no life. I mean, I have friends. I have community here, but not a lot. And I'm like, I have no husband. So why not do this? Why not give myself to these poor little unfortunate beings that either nobody wanted, were dropped off at State Park, where I found, or just terrible things because people are just awful. Compressed wood pellets work great as litter. The ones for stove instead of smokers work the best, and they're cheap. I do use a wood product that's not expensive called Catalyst. It's actually really pretty good. It smells pretty good. Yeah. The Missouri compound is here when you need us. That's nice. And I do have some support, but for mostly I have to pay people to do things. That's why I'm going to do this stove myself. I'm just hoping. The problem with my brother-in-law is, Gene, you won't like it, but he's a hunter and opening day is Sunday. And so obviously he's not going to help me on Sunday. I mean, they're all hunters here. So Sunday's going to be a horrible day. And I'm going to hope that all the deer come stay on my property and don't go out and get lost out where they're going to get shot. I mean, I used to do it when my husband was here. I used to can the venison and do all that. Now, if I have venison, I feed it to the cats because it's cheap and it's free. All right, so let me see what else you guys. Let me go back. Wait, you bought a t-shirt? Oh, I can't wait. That's really cool. I have to sit and design more stuff. I have to design better logos because I have a feeling that these logos on the shirts and the coffee cups are going to be too small. And the weirdest thing, I said I was going to connect my store to the YouTube, the store and the YouTube. They do these together, right? And I got this message that said, my merchandise can't be shown this way in the United States. I'm like, Environmental Coffee House, the logo can't be shown in the United States. Whatever the hell that mean, it could have been some kind of mistake. But, yeah. All right. So, Billy Joe. In case anybody's wondering, there's absolutely nothing, of course, that can be done about climate change instead of a lot of banter and false assumptions that'll not amount to anything. But the thing is, Billy Joe, I'm going to talk about this stuff because it's happening. Okay? It is happening. So that's why we report on it. No matter how much of a doomer you are and how bad and bleak the big picture is, the shit's happening and you're not going to stop technology. You're just not. You're just not. And you know that as well as I do. You all know that as well as I do. Yeah, I'm under surveillance for my t-shirts. I don't know, maybe the one I did, WASF. Maybe that's now it's a buzzword. Hey Keith, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, and Foggy and Steph. Yeah, let's see. All right. Well, I'm not talking about he who shall not be named. And here we go. BB, are you still with us? Karen Reese, I'm just saying hi. Improve your magic. Happy Friday. Listen, I don't hate solar. I really don't. Like I said, I have my big backup battery that took me over a year to pay off. As we lose the power here a lot. And it has solar power. So it has solar backup, you know. Hey, and if I was somebody that could afford it, but I don't need to have solar energy where I live because it's carbon free anyway from Niagara Falls. It's probably not so great anyway because it's the power from the falls, but yeah. We have a genuine commander and thief. Yeah, we do. And you know what? That gets another flush. Okay, the commander and thief. I just wanted to hear the flush. Oh my God. Why are they letting that happen? Yeah, but they give a certain amount of they do give a certain amount of bear permits in New York State. It's disgusting. And like I said, I was married to a hunter. I would go hunting with him, but I never hunted. I mean, I never shot anything. I have a shotgun and I had it, but I never did. I took pictures. I married him, you know? Anyway. What were you talking about, guys? Oh, yeah. The bears. Well, I want to thank you guys. And I want to thank you, Bella, for your donation to buy me a coffee for the kitties. That was really nice. And I cannot, oh, you changed the presidential rotating cube on your website. It doesn't show Biden. Now it shows the man that won't be named in an SS uniform. I wonder how long before they take it down, right? I can't even, I have to find out why I freaking couldn't connect the store to YouTube that way. But anyway, the link to the store is in the description for the channel page. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. It's an hour and 9 minutes. Good night. Letter Hack is live with a team tonight if you want to talk about why the Dems are assholes. I think that's what they're doing tonight. And I really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Ah, Foggy, that was very sweet. Oh. Of course, you can't see the character hiding behind it. Cloud saying hi, but we can visualize it. We can visualize it. So, all right. I love you guys, and I will see you on Tuesday. Next Friday, Jennifer's back with me. Tonight, I was supposed to have guests whose computers messed up, and then Antonia was going to come on with me and talk about regulations, and then Scott was going to come on, but he didn't know what he was going to do. And you know what? This whole energy thing, it really fell in my lap because of my local area. And then the wood stove issue, I thought was just, human interest. So let's hope I can fix it. I'll probably film myself doing it. All right, guys. I love you so much. And, it's like, oops, it is like love. It is like a kind of love, It really is a kind of love. And see you on Tuesday. I might have a video drop this weekend. Maybe. Okay. You guys have a good night. And I'll see you on Tuesday. Hoo. Oh, ba ba ba. Ooh. Good night, my friends. Gene.